Hi, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to talk about getting up at 4. Okay, good morning. The time now is 5:35. I've already been in the office for an hour and a half. This is something that I've been doing for years. So I wake up really early. And if you see me on Instagram, this is something you know about me. If you've worked with me in the past, you know that this is something that I've done for the longest time. My alarm goes off at 4 o'clock every morning, right? One of the things that I find, like, I have the same problem that everybody else has. Like, I just don't have enough time. So, like, way back in, like, oh, and by the way, the reason I'm wearing this outfit, this is my gym clothes. So this is my Overpass hat, my Overpass sweatshirt. I mean, I know I'm kind of overdoing it with the branding, but I only really wear this to the gym these days, right? So my alarm goes off at 4 o'clock in the morning. I kind of stumble out of bed, put on the shoes. I have my gym clothes laid out the night before, throw everything on, walk the 10 minutes to the office in the dark, and and switch everything back on. Switch everything on, hit the coffee first thing, and then usually by 4:30, I'm just ready to go, right? And the nice thing about this time of morning is this time belongs to me, right? There's no phone calls, there's no email. I mean, that phone is not going to ring in the middle of this video like it sometimes does, right? It's like once I started doing this, it got really free, and it's not for everybody. And some people will say, oh, that's because you were in the army or whatever. I've heard this like a lot. So, oh yeah, I would like to get up early in the morning, but you were in the army, you're used to that kind of stuff. Look, it's never been easy, it's never been easy to do that, right? So back in like 2002, 2003, I started getting into a lot of the self-help tapes and stuff like that, listening to Anthony Robbins and Brian Tracy and all that stuff. And one of the Brian Tracy tapes, he talks about, I don't know if you ever listened to Brian Tracy. He's always like, if you want to be the top of your field, wake up 1 hour earlier every morning, whatever. So you could get 5 extra hours a week. So I'd taken on this freelance project because I was working on this. I've told you about the permanent employee job that I had, back in the day, the last one where I was just miserable. So I took on this freelance job on the side, which I never had time to work on, right? So I started waking up at 5 a.m. instead of 6, right? So before it was just, I get up at 6, have a shower, head off to work, come home, watch TV, go back to bed, right? That was my life, right? So I started getting up an hour earlier and going downstairs and sitting at the family computer and working on this project, making coffee, setting up the coffee pot the night before. And then I found that there just was not enough time. I mean, five hours a week, and then the weekends, that was just not enough. So I started getting up, even an hour earlier. Or first, then I went to 4:30, and then I went to 4, just to see how far I could push it. I tried for a little while to go to 3:30, but that was just, for some reason, there's this mental thing when I see 3:30 on my alarm when it goes off in the morning. I'm thinking, nope, right? So, so 4 o'clock was something that I just got used to. So I started getting up earlier than most people, and I found that when I would get into the office back then, that when most people were like, oh, it's Monday, don't bother me, oh, right, it's like I was already, all those morning feelings that you have, I was already way past those, right? And when I started exercising regularly, I found that I always, if I made the time for it, I always had time. Now, getting up early in the morning is much more different than like just staying up late. Because before that, if I was working on a project of my own, I would stay up late and just like, I'm just going to stay up and work on this. And here's the big difference between getting up early and staying late. First of all, there's pros and cons, right? If you stay up late, you can stay up as late as you want, right? You're sacrificing sleep on either end, but you don't have this deadline. Like if you get up early in the morning, you could like start working on something and thinking like for me it was always like at 7:30 I have to get out the door. I have to be out the door, so I have to be ready. So I only have like 2 hours to work on this before I go, and then you're like quickly working away. If you're at night, you could say, okay, I have to leave at 7:30 in the morning. Worst case scenario, I get to sleep at 4, and then I get 2 hours sleep and all that kind of stuff. But when you get up, one of the big pros about getting up early in the morning, the con being you have that tight deadline, that fixed set of time. One of the pros is that nobody cares. Like if you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, nobody cares what you're doing. Nobody has any nobody has any claim on that time. Nobody even wants some of that time. I mean, I could go rob banks at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I think the police would still be like, let them have it, whatever, right? So, you know, it's, you know, and, you know, by the time that everybody else is starting their workday, you've already had, you know, several hours. I mean, the big problem we all have, again, I have this too, is like, I just don't have enough time. Like, I would like to write on the blog. I would like to do a video every day. I'd like to go to the gym more often. I would like to, you know, to work on more apps. I would like to do this, but dude, man, I just have no time, right? So, and when I left that job and then I went contracting, then I found that when I started Overpass as a company, you know, when I was working a contract, that time between 4 and 6:30 in the morning, that was Overpass time, and that was it. So that, you know, I had this certain amount of time where I'm trying to build this company, build this dream, and you know, that was the time working on the website, you know, learning new technologies. Sometimes it'd be, you know, different kind of stuff, whatever I was on at that time. And I've tried different things. Like if you read books like The Miracle Morning, they talk about, you know, a set pattern of like a routine. I've never really had very much of a routine, but I will from like maybe a few months at a time. Like sometimes, you know, I was going through meditation, or, you know, I was marathon training. So I was like, you know, sometimes I would go out for a run at 4:30 in the morning, and you know, you go into the office and, you know, people are like, oh, I'm so tired. And I'm like, dude, I ran 13 miles this morning before work. But by the way, I never do this. This is one of the things you kind of close off about, because it borders on crazy. Getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning kind of borders on crazy, right? So people, you know, when you tell people that, they're like, oh, well, like, I don't know, whatever. But, you know, when you have bigger dreams than other people have, I think you have to do more than most people have. That's the old adage, right? If you want more than other people have, you have to do more than they have. Since I started Overpass full time, like where we're just doing client work, you know, I started getting to this point where I thought, that's it, I'm going to start sleeping till 6. I'm going to start sleeping till 6, start the work day at 9, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I'll do that for like a week, and then it feels like I've sacrificed so much time, right? Because you're basically giving up, you know, 10 hours a week, you know, when you do that. And the reason I do this is because you read these books about, like, every so often there's a new book coming up, The Importance of Sleep. If you don't get 8 hours, you're early death and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I can't give it up. You know, it's, you know, once you get into the habit of doing it, and let me tell you what, it's not easy getting into the habit, right? The first few weeks are tough getting up, but once you start getting that momentum, then it's easy. And if you do something you're excited about, then it's a lot easier. Like sometimes clients will find out that, well, because, you know, they'll find out that I'm early, they'll see I'm on Skype early, and they'll want to have a meeting. So they'll say, oh, I get up early too, Eric. Maybe we can have a meeting at 7 a.m. It's like, no. This is my time. You know, you get business hours are after 9, right? I still work on Overpass stuff early in the morning, but the client-facing time is later on, right? This is the time where you sit, focus. You know, sometimes I might talk to my developers in the Philippines, but sometimes they're not even online then either. So anyway, to be an app developer, you don't have to wake up early, but you do. If you don't have enough time, then you need to find ways to make the time. You will make time for the things that are important, right? This is one of the things, right? When I decided I wanted to do a video on a daily basis, it was one of the things I said, I have to make it important. Sometimes I have to tell a client that I can't meet with them because I have to do my video today, right? But I won't tell them that because they might take it the wrong way. But, you know, the things that you make important, you will find time for. And sometimes the things that you make important, other people don't find important. But that doesn't matter because it's your vision, and it's your, you know, it's your thing that you're setting up. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. It's still very early in the day, right? I won't post this until tonight, but wow, it feels good to get out of, you know, get it done so early. Anyway, that's it for today. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.